All right, ho ho ho. This is the Huge Movie Fanatics coming at you around holiday Christmas season with some Christmas movie reviews. If you've seen, should probably be up right now, some of the Christmas horror and Christmas action that we've done. I thought we'll just kind of, I can't think of, I mean, I'm sure there's tons of movies, but it's not like I can think of all of them. So I think I'm just going to go and do a review on a Christmas movie, Christmas comedy called Trading Places, which is something that I grew up with, something that I think is absolutely phenomenal. And it's got, I was never a huge, what's his name, the African-American guy? Eddie Murphy. I was never a huge Eddie Murphy fan, but I think he's pretty gosh dang funny in this movie. I've always liked Dan Aykroyd, man. I mean, from back in the day, you know.
Yeah, he's great.
And one of the great things about Trading Places is that it's John Landis. John Landis, I absolutely love John Landis. And again, kind of like John McTiernan, I mean, he kind of disappeared.
Yeah, I don't
it's
really
like
know what he's up to at all.
He was doing like one huge movie after another back in the late 70s and 80s, in the mid-80s. Yeah. And then all of a sudden, it's like the early 90s, I mean, he came out with, I'm not a huge fan of it, this thing called, what was it called, the vampire movie? Innocent Lump, I don't know what it was called, but it was like a woman vampire or something. But it was almost like, I don't know if it was straight to video or what, but it's really weird that when you have a huge director like John Landis, who's done Blues Brothers and so many, you know, iconic comedies from the 80s.
Do you think it might have been partly from the Twilight Zone mishap, where the actors got horribly killed and
what?
The helicopter crash that decapitated the kids and the main actor?
People died during the filming of Twilight Zone movie?
One of the main actors in the film got killed in the helicopter crash. I believe he was decapitated, as well as the kids that he was with, in the little Nazi segment in the movie.
Holy mother. Well, he did a lot of movies after that, so it wasn't until later that but that probably didn't help.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, well no one, yeah, gosh, that's bad when you get decapitated in a movie.
Yeah.
But he actually, I think his big last hurrah was back in the day when they did, this is really off topic, but whatever. We'll get to the movie in a minute, when they did Blues Brothers 2000. I think that was his last big freaking attempt at doing something which was so heinous, horrible that it's...
I mean, I like John Goodman a lot, and he did a lot for the movie, but that movie is just garbage.
Oh my gosh, holy how. But anyway, I think...
Trading Places.
Yeah, I think I'm here to discuss Trading Places, which I loved back in the day, like the late 70s, early 80s, and mid 80s, with John Landis, his sense of humor in the movies, and also how he shot movies, which is a very cool, almost European, almost British way, with wide lenses, static shots. I really respond to how he shoots movies. I absolutely love, and I'm just going to mention the title, I'm not going to talk about it, Spies Like Us as well. You know, that's another great John Landis comedy with Dan Aykroyd. But getting back to Trading Places, I think it's a phenomenal movie, and I was just trying to think of stars right there. That's what I was trying to think of. I'll think of them later. I'll talk about it first. I just think that it's such a great idea for a movie, and I think it was so well executed. Now you haven't seen it forever, so you're not going to comment.
I'll make a comment.
Oh, go ahead and make a comment right now.
I remember liking the movie, and I saw it in 3rd grade. And Jamie Lee Curtis is in it, correct?
Yeah. That's the first movie, as said in Scream.
Yeah.
That she bared her breast. She didn't show her tits till she went legit.
Yeah. Great line. But I remember liking her in it, and I remember liking Dan Aykroyd. Eddie Murphy isn't my cup of tea generally.
No,
but,
because you're white.
Well, I mean, no, not necessarily that. But like I don't know. He's a little too over the top, too loud for me. Like there are other African American comedians that I think are just great. But he's never really done much for me. I did like the idea, as you said, but I can't really comment to the movie, having not seen it in over 10 years. So
I think it's phenomenal the way they did it, and the way they took, you know, this, and of course Dan Aykroyd is perfect at playing this kind of rich, you know, snobby. I basically go to work and I make a phone call and then I go to the club. You know, that's Dan Aykroyd's rich rich lifestyle, and then you see the other side of the spectrum, Eddie Murphy, which is done in a comedic. He's trying to make money off of pretending to be a vet who's got no legs, or doesn't have any, or does not have any legs, and it was such a great way. I'm not too sure that it would work in real life, that kind of a homeless guy would become, as it did in the movie, where he became a competent businessman. But the aspect I do like about it is seeing what is more realistic, taking that rich person who is Dan Aykroyd's character, and taking all his girl and his butler and his cars and his house and his friends away, and seeing him be in a position where on Christmas Eve he's got the Santa suit on, he's like, he's drunk, and he's just standing out there in the rain, and he's like, click. It's not funny, but somehow it's funny in the movie that he's just like, he gets off the bus or something, he's just standing there and it starts raining. And the imagery of a gun to the head is not funny, but in this scene it's funny. It's like, just his expression in the Santa outfit face, and he's like, click, and he's like, the gun goes off and hits something, or whatever, and it's funny. You know what? I'm gonna do it. The movie's so cool. I'm gonna go 4 stars because it's so damn funny. Like you said, Jamie Lee Curtis is so good in the movie as I guess, which isn't probably very realistic. I don't know if she's like an educated prostitute or I don't know what she is, but showing that maybe not all prostitutes are, she was making the money and putting it away in investments or whatever. So it kind of makes prostitutes look not so dumb. But in that case, and but I think that, like I say, the aspect of taking the rich guy and putting him into poor was more interesting than Eddie Murphy going into rich. But then the fact that they both screw together the bad guys that played this game on them at the end in Wall Street or whatever was cool. I just think as a whole the movie's so wonderfully well-rounded and so wonderfully just done that it's phenomenal. There's a couple, you got Jamie Lee Curtis's first time burying herself, and then there's another girl. So I think there's 2 pairs in that movie. So there you go. But like I say, I love John Landis's sense of humor, and it shows really, really great. There's a scene where, this might be right around the time he tries to kill himself, where he's in where what's his name? The guy, the white Caucasian guy, Dan Aykroyd is outside, just in the rain, watching in this rich restaurant, Eddie Murphy, and he's talking with the big bosses, and some guy's girlfriend is sitting right next to him, and she whispers in his ear, and Eddie Murphy looks up but there's this scene where one guy asks Eddie Murphy for his advice about the harvest or the crops or whatever the hell they're talking about, and everyone in the music's going, and everyone in the whole place, the music stops and listens to what he has to say, and he's like, I could think of 2 good reasons why not to do that right now, and then everything just starts again. What I'm trying to say is John Landis' sense of humor is so funny. And then during that silence, there's some kind of silence in that scene too, where they show reactions of everyone's static reactions, and then they cut to outside real quick in the rain, Dan Aykroyd's. But like I say, his cinematic technique, John Landis, is phenomenal, and I love it. Trading Places, great Christmas movie, great comedy, 4 stars for my money. I guess that about does it.
That's it.
Thanks for watching. We'll catch you later. Happy
Christmas.
I need some college girl to get on my lap here. What do you want this year, little girl? Okay. There's none around, so we'll catch you later.